people have messaged saying, it's changed my life. I had a guy send me an audio message. He said, "Hey man, I got to buy you a coffee next time I'm in Sydney. I just landed a scholarship, a $50,000 scholarship at university because of the advice you gave." And I'm like, it's crazy how much a podcast can impact people's lives.
Hi Byron, thanks for taking the time to speak to me today. It's great to catch up to chat about you and your partnership with Student Edge.
My pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so tell me a bit about yourself, what Driven Young is, and how you came to create your platform.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Byron Dempsey, host of the Driven Young podcast. So it's one of the top-rated podcasts in the educational space for young people. We teach practical life skills such as money and finance, communication skills, sexual assault education, consent education, and a huge variety of stuff. Basically, we teach skills that we should have learned in school, skills I wish I had when I was younger, and skills that I've noticed are very important in the workforce. And I do that by interviewing experts. So I bring on experts in each field and I bounce ideas off them. I keep it really relevant to younger people. I post most of my content on TikTok, which is where obviously young people are spending their time. And it's been very successful there. We've gained over 600,000 followers across 2 accounts. And so my main account, which is just Byron Dempsey, is where I post the majority of my content. So yeah, it's been going really well. And among that, I also work for a company called Empower You, and similar, almost the podcast in an event format. We teach practical life skills for young people, all the skills I mentioned, but instead of doing it over a podcast, we do it in a 2-day event format. And I've got a gap year program coming out. But yeah, it all links under the umbrella of education for young people and connecting young people together.
Yeah, that's so amazing. There's definitely a gap around everyday life skills for young people, and it's such a great thing that you and Student Edge are working to help young people get ahead of their future and learn the essential skills that they need for everyday life.
Yeah, no, that's why it's an exciting partnership.
So as a content creator, what's it been like to start helping young Aussies in a meaningful way?
Yeah, it's been incredible because, starting a podcast is really difficult. Well, starting a podcast is easy, but growing an audience on a podcast is very difficult. And the reason I encourage, if you listen to my podcast at the beginning of every episode, before we even get into the episode, I say, as per usual, please DM me on Instagram. And the reason I say that is because I want to make sure that the podcast is impacting people. And I love when people reach out to me. And so to have young Australians, or actually young, just people around the world, even, I've got an international audience now, majority young Australians, but I get messages from people all around the world. And people have messaged saying, it's changed my life. I had a guy send me an audio message. He said, "Hey man, I got to buy you a coffee next time I'm in Sydney. I just landed a scholarship, a $50,000 scholarship at university because of the advice you gave." And I'm like, it's crazy how much a podcast can impact people's lives, especially when they're young, because when you're young, you have an opportunity to get in early. And like the stuff, if they can implement this stuff now, it can really set them up for the future. It's the single reason that I keep going despite large financial gains from it. If anything, I've been earning less money than most of my friends, which is fine. But I love the impact and the feeling that it gives you to know that you're helping people, and you know that every time you post an episode or post a video, there are people out there that are enjoying it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And just on that as well, what do you find are the most common questions or advice that young people are looking for that you're getting in your Instagram DMs, for example?
Well, most of the stuff I get is people saying, a lot of people they have self-doubt and they don't realize what they're capable of. The other thing is they just assume they have to go straight into university. And that's something we talk about. It's like, you don't have to go straight into university. There's so many other options. You could take a gap year. You could go get an internship. There's so many different things you could do to kind of give yourself a little bit of a break before you start studying again. And university is always going to be there. So there shouldn't be a huge rush to get there. And I get a lot of people going, "Byron, I switched degrees before you. I dropped out and now I'm doing something I love. I started my own business because of stuff you said." And so, yeah, the biggest things I'm seeing with the young people are a lot of that, but also they're feeling very alone. They're feeling very lonely. Even though they might have lots of friends, they're deep down feeling alone because they're not the friends for them. They're not sure how to make friends. They don't have a community around them, and they're not sure, where to learn from. There's so much information out there. Where do they go for it? There's so much information. Who do they listen to? And that's, the problems I'm trying to solve.
Yeah, of course. Do you think that COVID has had an impact on that as well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, COVID's been brutal, especially in Sydney and Melbourne. Obviously, we do everything online and, there are benefits to that, but also I think there's some pretty significant downsides. Everyone can just jump online instead of going out. And, it's evident in Sydney where I live, last weekend was the first weekend we could go out. and it was great. And it was so good to see people and just kind of get that. I get recharged by people. I know introverts not so much, but they still love to see people. And yeah, so that's only, I think that's heightened. COVID is, I don't know if it's heightened, maybe just shined a light on the fact that young people are lonely. Well, actually, most people are lonely from what I'm seeing, but specifically young people are really opening up about how they feel like they don't feel supported and have the people around them that they want.
Yeah, I think it's so important as well with the skills that you're teaching to young people and what Student Edge is doing with Student Edge Plus. It's going to make such a huge impact for Aussie youth. So what do you hope to achieve with this partnership with Student Edge?
Well, Student Edge is an awesome partnership because they're just obviously, if you know Student Edge and you've listened to this conversation, you can already see that it's a pretty perfect fit. I teach practical life skills. Well, so does Student Edge. And it's cool because I think the way I teach practical life skills is a bit more casual, it's a bit more conversational, and I think people like that. But if they want to go into more practical stuff, Student Edge Plus has that practical side where you can sit down. It's like, all right, Byron, I'm convinced I need to learn how to get my money and finance sorted. I've listened to your saving strategies and stuff, but I still don't know how to do it. You can go to the money and finance section on Student Edge Plus or whatever, and they've got experts that take you through it. Or, Taj with the entrepreneurship. Okay, I want to start a business. I've listened to some of your episodes. I'm motivated. I'm keen to start a business. I get it, but I just need a little bit more guidance. I think that's where Student Edge works really well because I've got that structure. And Student Edge has the brand and the recognition to bring in some really cool people from Australia. So they're bringing in some really incredible mentors because they've got that brand and recognition, and they've got X amount of users. And and also the people I've met in Student Edge are just really cool. Like super chill company. I don't say that in like a bad way. Chill as in like always open opportunities, just nice people. The two founders I've met, awesome guys, really, really connected with them. And I felt very supported. So yeah, it's a very exciting partnership for me for sure.
Yeah, and we're really excited to start working with you as well, of course. So is there anything else you wanted to tell me about Driven Young, or what else you have planned with Student Edge?
I think there's so much we can do in terms of, starting a Student Edge podcast or, doing clips for TikTok. I've got a lot of ideas. The gap year is a big priority for me right now. It's kind of what I'm putting a lot of my time into. And so that's like a 3-month program for young people where we connect them and give them a whole community of cool people. We're going to do some workshops and stuff, but also I'm looking at growing the Driven Young podcast network, as in I've got the Driven Young podcast, but I've also got a second podcast called Consent and Consequences, which is about sexual assault and consent education. And, that did really, really well. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Maybe I should create like a suite of specific shows to a specific topic, like go deep into a money and finance topic, go deep into sexual health topic, and bring on an expert and kind of interview them in that style. Again, it's quite different to Student Edge Plus because it's more of a interview style versus a teaching style. And so I'm looking to expand that as well. And then of course, Empower You, looking to just keep doing Empower You. It's great for my presenting skills, and that's very life-changing for a lot of young people. So lots of cool stuff happening.
Yeah, and those topics are so important as well. So those are all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. It's been really great chatting with you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Marie.
Thanks.